Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Age of Civilization. In the game of Age of Civilization, you are, as the title suggests, working to build a civilization. The very first thing you will do on your turn is choose one of these cards. When I choose one of these cards, let's take that one for example, that becomes the city that I am. What happens with the other four is each of them gets a coin added to it. The first player, notice, has 3 coins, not 2. What that card tells you, down the left-hand side, it tells you how many meeples you're going to get to use for this particular city. While this is your main city, you will get this bonus. So this one is, whenever you do the farm action, you get 1 extra coin. I'll talk about that in a second. The bit at the bottom happens all the time. This one's a game end one, but even when you move on from this city onto another city, you'll still get the stuff at the bottom. Once you've selected one, everything else gets a coin, and then you fill the gap where you took that card from. You'll be able to do that 3 times through the game. So that's the first turn, and that's actually the very first thing that needs to happen on the first turn. Each turn after that, there will be 6 turns total. Each turn after that, you have a choice of taking another city or just moving into the turn. Now, the reason you might take another city is the city I just took has 4 meeples to use. So that means there are 4 things that you can do, and I'll talk about how to use them in a second. On your next turn, if I take, say, this city, I get any money that's on it. Now, I have the choice of either going here, so the new city is the one on top. That would then give me 3 meeples. Would mean whenever I do the hunt action, which is down here, so that's probably not a great city to grab straight from the start, but whenever I do the hunt, I'd get an extra 2 money. That also gives me a shield. I'll talk about shields in a moment. I could have taken that extra city and put it underneath the first city. Now what that means is I don't get any extra meeples or less meeples, or there's no change in the number of meeples that I have. It's just that I get the ongoing benefit of that particular city. Other than that, the gameplay of every round is the same. So each player is going to do everything that they can do. So the first thing they did was take that, we put a coin onto each card, and then turn a new card over. Now the only things that are available to me, the only actions, if you will, that are available to me are these 3 at the top and the 3 directly below it. These ones over on the right hand side are what's going to come up eventually. They're not available at the moment. Knowing that I've got 4 guys, I can start with putting these down wherever I like. So say if I put them here, notice this card has a picture of 2 meeples, so I'll put the 2 on it. 1, 2. I would get the 3 money, but I've got a card that then gives me another money. So by doing that action, I've gained 4 money. If I were to do this action, there's a picture of money, or there's $2 written in that, and 2 meeples. The picture of the stars means that I would get 2 points up in the top, and it would cost me the 2 money. So out of that, that's money, back into the bank. Up here on the research action, it costs 4 money to do, but I'm only using 1 guy on it. Now, I could do that a second time if I had another 4 money. I don't at the moment, but if I did, I could do that a second time. What that gains me is, as you guessed, a point. Anything that obviously doesn't have the dollar value in it, so like fishing, would just mean spend a meeple onto it. Whenever you put the meeple onto it, you get what is written in that space. So it's money, that's points, as we've previously discussed. Now looking at the top part, there's 2 other spots that I haven't touched. Both of them are red. If you see, there's a picture of the meeple with a line through it. If I put 1 here, I will get what's at the top, which is 2 money. But at the end of the turn, when I'm taking all the guys back, I would lose that. So I would only be taking back, say I've gone there, for example, I get a whole bunch of money. I would lose that one. I would then be going on to the game with only 3 meeples left in my city. This is a symbol of the city degrading over time. And this is why you're going to need to do new cities, new front-running cities to help you through the rest of the game, because you will lose meeples. The Wonder works very similarly. You will put a guy onto it. It will cost you 7 money because there's $7 on that. And you also get to get 3 points, which is up there. And then this little picture of the triangle is talking about these spots just here, the wonders. What they will do is they will give you points for something that you've done. So there are a whole bunch of wonders available to us. There's only 5 of them out at the moment because we put out the number of players plus 3. This one and this one give you 1 extra point when you're building or fishing. So as soon as we've got to pass the first turn, this is going to move along. The build action is not actually going to happen again. So this card here may not be worthwhile taking right from the outset. Whereas fishing is going to happen this turn, next turn, and the turn after. It will happen 3 times as the timeline moves along. If I take this one, it's basically saying when I gain it, so right now if I have 4 guys, which I do at the moment, I'm assuming that's what the rules mean. I've got 4 guys. I'm about to lose this guy, but I've currently got 4. I'll take that. I will get 2 points for taking that one. This one is for people who have managed to get a lot of those cards. So you're going to get points at the end of the game, 1 point per card that you've got. And the one on the left looks like when you take the card. So I could choose to take that one. I pay 3 more money on top of what I've already paid. So I paid the 7 money to get the card. So I paid 10 money total, but that gets me 3 more points. So I'd actually get 6 points by taking that one. So once you've used all of the workers that you've got, you then take the workers back. If they're on the red spots, then they obviously get depleted, so you don't get those ones back. Once the turn has come around, this is the first player marker. That pushes across to the other player. The other thing I didn't mention with the research, so it's going to cost $4 for money to do it. You get a point. You also gain one of the available technologies. The available technologies to start with are each of the bottom 3. So writing, sailing, and mining. What they do is writing first up. Whenever you do the culture, which is over here, you get an extra point for doing so. If you do the sailing, you would get a shield. So I'll put that there. Every time you go fishing, you get 1 more money. Every time you do a trade, you get 1 more money. And then over on this one, the mining, whenever you build, which is this spot just here, it costs you, I believe that's 1 less money to build, not no money at all. I believe that's 1 less money. The other thing with mining is you would get 2 shields. So why do we need shields? I'm glad you asked. The next thing that's going to happen, so everyone's had their turns, we move that along 1. Whenever we move across to a card or to above a card on the right that has that sword symbol, it means a war is going to happen. What is going to happen during that war is, if you see there's a sword in the top left corner of the card that has just become available. What that means is there's a war. What war means is whoever has the least shields, so at the moment, this player has the least shields because this player has 1, will lose one of their meeples. So he's taken that, which means he has 3 meeples at play. So what's going to happen now is one of these meeples has been lost to war straight away. So this player is now only playing with 2 meeples, and we move on. We go through that whole process. Whenever you come across the plague, which is the next one along, what that means is every player will lose 1 meeple from their stash. And play carries on until that card cannot be advanced any further, at which point the game has finished and you have a look to see where you are on those points. If you have any special end game points from these cards or these cards, this is when those would be added, and that in essence is the game. Other things to be aware of is obviously the second and third levels of the technology card. Is if you have a look really closely, there's arrows, so we can go from here, we can go straight up, we can go straight up, and that's the same on all 3. But what you can also do is if you've gone for, say, the ironwork, and you've done that twice, there's an arrow going in. So from here, you can actually go straight across to engineering. From the middle, you can go to either of the outsides as well as above it. And the other things that those do is this one means that you can do the culture action again without the meeple. The culture action costs 4 money, so I'm pretty sure you need to still pay the 4 money, but you don't need to pay the meeple to do it. Up to the science at the top there. Once you take that, it says it's points per future action. If you are able to cover it there, you'd get 3 points because there's 3 future actions. If you, however, cover it there, there's only one future action. So it's really looking at unused cards on the track. Moving over, we've done sailing. Mathematics is research. So that's talking about this, the middle of this card. And it's minus, I'm assuming, 1 money. So it'd be 3 money only for that instead of the 4. Coming up to the top, every time you do a build action, which is this one over here at the moment, you'd get an extra star for it, so extra points for that. At the end of the game, you would get an extra point per wonder card that you have. Across Ironwork, he's just adding extra shields, and then Gunpowder is adding extra shields, but then you would get extra points every time you do the Conquest action. I think that is everything that needs to be said about this game. Have a go at it, have a look at my Gamesplay to see if you'd like it. And have a look at the Kickstarter when that is available. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you'd like to be Gamesplained, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.